All right, so this is part two, okay? And it goes a little deeper, and I was just gonna make the one video, but I decided I'm gonna follow through with this because I still found it interesting, right? So we left at this pictures of all the Social Security card numbers and all that kind of stuff. But unauthorized use is more rapid than we think, by my opinion. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving legal advice, okay? I'm just thinking outside the box, okay? I am arm length because I'm not knowledgeable enough to give the full story on this, just my opinions, but it's just my opinions only, y'all. Never look straight forward, always look around to be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. You got to think outside the box and quit listening to hearsay. Straightforward is hearsay. Thinking outside the box is best getting it on your own. Okay, so whatever is said and done on these videos I do is all hearsay. Research it yourself. I'm not responsible for your actions. Okay, so let's this is going to jump from 1602 to 1603 or 1643. But let's proceed forward on this.
The laws and how they're written. Because people are going to offer you their own opinion and their own beliefs in terms of what they were taught and what they have came to know and experience their entire life. But what if what they know is wrong?
I'm going to pause this right quick. Okay. We still always got to keep this in mind. Alright, whether you're in legalese, whether you're a U.S. national, whether you're doing trust, whether you're doing commerce, person is a very important and common use in everyday language nowadays. At one time, we hardly ever even heard person. Now it's rampant. I just watched a show last night. Well, I'm a good person. Okay? So we got to be careful with the words we're becoming in a habit of. Right? We're agreeing we're always in contract with one another. Okay? And when they say person in court, you don't know the true definition they're using. Why? Because you're not looking up the definition, people. Okay? And, you know, it's all right, you know, hey, you're a good person with your wife or whatever. But when you're talking about any type of legal transactions of any sorts, right, persons is a very important word to know. All right? Even when you speak in legalese, okay? Men and women, use it, okay? It's always better to what you guys call represent yourselves in court, because attorneys and municipal courts or fraud in essence, but all they are doing is business. All right, and this is what this is all talking about, really, is that we're always operating in business and we don't even know it a lot of times.
How will you know until you begin to read these laws for yourself? How will you know? It says any card. I didn't write this. This was written by Congress, right? This was written by Congress. It says any card, and it defines an open-ended credit plan as an account that has repeated transactions. Repeated. That's a revolving line of credit. All right? You know, so now, unauthorized use. Talk about it a little bit. Unauthorized use means the use of a credit card by a person other than the card holder who does not have actual, implied, or apparent authority for such use, and from the cardholder receives no benefit. Now, Who's the card holder? You have the card in your possession. You're the card holder, right? But the transactions are taking place under which the card holder receives no benefit. So
she's going to use a different example, but I challenge you also look at this example. Again, this is a educational deal, right? To broaden the minds and open it instead of looking straight forward, okay? It's not a legal vice of any sort, fashion, okay? So, she's going to give a different way of looking at it, but we just talked about on the last video. Transfer and charging with your driver's license plate, and all that. But the question is, when you was entered that commercial capacity, what benefit did you get out of that? Received no benefit, did you? All right.
if there are transactions and everything taking place that you don't know about, you didn't receive a benefit, they received a benefit. That is uninformed use of credit. That is unauthorized use. That is unauthorized use. And so what does Congress say about unauthorized use? Unauthorized use means the use of a credit card by a person other than a cardholder who does not have actual, implied, or apparent authority for such use, which the cardholder receives no benefit. I'm going to give you the prime example of unauthorized use. And this happens to us every single day. Every day. But we don't know that it's happening. Okay, so hear me out. When you go and apply for a credit card or any type of account, right? A loan, credit card, a mortgage, car loan, personal loan, secured or unsecured, whatever that transaction may be, right? I'm gonna stop sharing my second because I want to be able to, I want you to see. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing for a second because I need for you all to hear me. Okay. One of the greatest examples of unauthorized use is when you go and you apply for something and you get denied. And so what you don't know is that anytime an inquiry pops up on your credit report, that is evidence that a transaction has taken place. A transaction has taken place, but you as the cardholder received no benefit. Someone still made money off of that transaction. It just wasn't you. It just wasn't you. That is the biggest example of unauthorized use and uninformed use of credit. That is the biggest example, right? And so no one's going to tell you that a consumer credit transaction took place in which you received no benefit. You just know that you got denied. You got denied. That's all you know. But you don't know that when you went to apply for something, they were literally shopping your credit, right? So you know how when you go to a dealership and you go to apply for a car loan and they shop your credit around, right, to all these different places, and you end up having like a zillion inquiries on your credit report. And then they come and they try to offer you a loan with a double-digit interest rate, with a payment that's ridiculously high. And you're like, wait a minute. And so every single time that they shopped your credit, every company that appears as an inquiry on your credit report, someone got paid. You just didn't get paid. An inquiry is evidence that a transaction took place in which you received no benefit, right? And so we have to start going after these.
If you sit and think about it, even you didn't get no benefit, but you're losing as well, because every time it spreads out like that, your credit actually drops. Yeah, so it caused you harm. By the way, trespass, by the way. But if you really sit and think about it, when it bounced around like that, and your credit, even if it's bad credit, when it jumps around, and then you check your credit score again, and now it got lowered because of all this inquiry, well, Not only did you not get a benefit out of this, that other people getting benefits, it actually caused you harm. So you don't point that part out, but it caused you harm because your credit rate went lower. All right? That's the reason why I don't do it. Okay, I haven't used credit in I don't know how long now. All right, my car is paid off, my pickup's paid off, my house is paid off. You know, I don't take out loans, right? So can I? Well, I'm not knowledgeable enough as what's shown here. However, at the present time, I don't do it. All right.
Companies or to request them to furnish documentary evidence, which is basically all books of account on the private side and the public side, so that we can see who received the benefit and request our portion of that benefit as a consumer in which our credit was used and we did not know. See, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, dealing with me, your mind, I'm trying to get you to start thinking outside the box. We need to start thinking outside the box, and we really need to know and understand that the way that things are set up, these corporations are not going to do anything unless they receive a direct benefit initially. So we have to start tapping into those benefits because our credit is literally being used every single day without our informed consent, and we have no clue. Why do you think Congress wrote this law? They specifically said that economic stabilization would be enhanced. So what does that mean? If you begin to know and understand the way that your credit is being used, it's going to help the economy. It's going to help the economy. It's going to enable more consumers to be able to benefit via consumer credit transactions with these different banks, companies, and financial institutions. But because we don't know how our credit is being used, it contributes to the economic instability, right? And remember, this is what Congress went over in their findings within the FDCPA. Economic instability contributes to the number of marital instability, bankruptcies, right? Yesterday, we talked about abuse. We talked about the fact that you're being violent. Begin to know and exercise your rights. It helps the economy. It helps the economy, right? It really does help the economy. So this right here is just, we literally have to unlearn what we think we know, and we have got to begin to read, people. We have to read. We have to read. When you receive a letter from a debt collector or you receive a letter from a bank, and you know, at the bottom of that letter, it says Equal Credit Opportunity Act, or it says anything about the FDCPA, or it says anything about the FCRA, because they'll put those disclaimers at the bottom of those letters, because by law, they're required to inform you of certain rights. They're not going to give you everything. They're not going to give you everything. They're just going to give you a little bit. But because we are so caught up and inundated with our day-to-day, we work in a 9-to-5 job, we literally have very little time every day to spend with our families. We're not going to take the time out to read the FCRA or read the FDCPA or even through the lending. We're not going to take the time to read. And they bank on the fact that we're not going to do that, right? And so it just allows them to continue to get over on us, right? So, you know, we have
When you prefer dream vacation over a mental nightmare.
Like I said before, y'all, it's just thinking outside the box, and I'm arm length, not knowledgeable enough to really fully comprehend what he is speaking of. And my deal, more than anything else,
you know, we
is
have,
what
we
I
have
call
got to get into these definitions, and we have to
We are using misunderstood words every day because we do not look up the definition, right? When you look up Cornell Law, you know, go to them little blue tablets, look up the definitions, what they are talking about. You know, black law, any of these definitions, you know. It extremely hurts, especially when they put person in there. When I was in person in blue, push blue. What do they mean by person? How does that coincide with the man and woman, right? Your codes and statutes, rules, and regulations, right? It's all persons. How does that apply to men and women, right? They're all under the assumptions and presumptions, right? The military courts are assuming you are operating in commerce, okay? Without benefits, by the way. But anyway, again, this is my opinion. Do not take legal advice. Do your own research. It's educational purposes only.
Begin to read, and we have to teach our children to begin to pay attention to detail and to read virtually everything so that they can decide if they agree or disagree with an offer of an extension of credit or a contract that they're signing, right? Because just because someone is presenting you with a contract doesn't mean that you have to agree to every point of that contract. You can actually cross things out. We can write stuff in. We can initial, right? And we have to be able to take our documents home and not feel forced into a transaction right there on the spot, especially when we're not properly informed of our rights, right? Don't let these companies push you and back you into a corner because you feel as though you need something right now and you don't think that there's another way that you can get what it is that you need, okay?
Kind of like UT, which is what we're doing right now. FB, you know, you're agreeing to a lot of things, but you cannot go in there on your own and cross things out you do not agree to, right? This UT, I did not have an opportunity to cross out things I did not agree to. And then they still turn around and say you broke some type of rule that you don't even know you broke, and they won't even define what rule you broke. Just saying. All right, so she's absolutely correct. All these corporations are tricking you, fooling you, misleading you. And, you know, I'm agreeing with her. My personal opinion, my grandbaby's in public school right now, but I still teach on the outside, right? He's learning on the inside, but I'm still teaching on the outside of school. Okay? Do both if you have to. But I'm still a firm believer of one thing only. Home school. Just saying. If you could start teaching your offsprings this, they're going to have more education from home at a young age. By the time they become our age, they're going to be on top of the world of knowledge. Don't mislead anything. I'm a firm believer their attorneys even talk to the kids about these things. All right? Read every contract, this, and this, especially with attorneys that operate in contract law. Right? They're teaching their kids this outside of school. And then you wonder why, you know, rich attorneys have rich kids, because they're in learning process all through their young life. Right? And when they get of age, then they become successful. Okay? The rest of us are too busy with everything else. Just my opinion, y'all. Not legal advice. Educational purposes only. Okay? These are We the People news. And let's go ahead and top this off.
All right, so I wanted to take some time, like I said, to circle back to truth in lending, because these definitions are going to matter. These definitions matter. They matter.
We're going to go ahead and pause there. Yeah. Definitions. All right? We're using misunderstood words every single day. And we're not realizing what and how we are speaking. All right, this way the people knows. Bye, y'all.